Machawe samete o chivasi e kamatai masetea achiamate me sawe chawatamake e sawe chamate matea matea chemasawe mate. Hi. Chatemekia aishta matekia tamatataya mohaya e chamatea e sakataya matoi e samatea e
Doesn't shake your soul, I don't know what will. That's our beautiful sister Amanda Lawrence, Unity Grace was there, Peter Tongue, Des Green Soul. It was really special to be a part of something like that. I'm going to pull up our new friend, beloved brother by the name of Michael Tree. I met him in Sedona about 3 weeks ago. Let's get him up here. All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How's it going?
Good. There you go.
Hey.
There you go. What's going on, brother? It's good to see you again. Hadn't seen you in what, about 3 weeks or so?
Yeah.
How's Sedona doing? How's Sedona treating you? How's that super galactic spaghetti bowl highway with all the different dimensions and energies and timelines present? How's it treating you?
Oh, it's really beautiful. I'm sitting here right by the creek, actually. So
Oh, wow.
It's this really
Very
beautiful
cool.
space right by Brewer Road. So that's where I am right now.
Very cool.
So yeah.
Well, it's good. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. I don't know how many if you've watched much of our Soul Speaks 5D show, but it's a conversation. It's not really a interview or anything like that. It's a little bit atypical, but we just have a conversation. It just happens to be in front of a whole bunch of beloved sisters and brothers, just trying to learn
Absolutely.
from each other and activate each other.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I know you're younger than me by at least a year or two. I'm just
I'm
curious.
29 actually. I was just drinking some
Well, I'm
spirulina.
30. I'm 30. I'm I'm 33. So I thought I was a
Wow.
little bit older than that than you. Uh, what I wanted to get at was, one of the when we started doing these shows a long time ago, the first question I always ask people was, when did you wake up? And there hasn't been a whole lot of young people. 1,500 episodes. There's probably been, I don't know, 30 people under the age of 30 on here, if that many.
Wow.
So it's an interesting twist, especially to talk to a divine, to talk to a divine masculine who's in that age group, because I think that there's a lot to be said for that energy and that frequency of these young people. But anyway, so with all that being said, when did you wake up? Did you ever go to sleep? Did you have the typical journey of a lot of us, which was went to sleep, was born with it, went to sleep, went into 3D, had a bunch of traumas, and woke up. Was yours anything like that, or was it different?
Well, I remember when I was a little baby, and when I was a lot younger, I wouldn't be able to fall asleep in my own room in many ways because of the energy that I was seeing when I was little, and I didn't have the support in order to like have the knowledge and wisdom to figure out what that energy was. So pretty much, I've always been sensitive, and I've always focused on my purity of thought, and that has what has guided me my whole life. And so pretty much, I was told that I had OCD and like obsessive compulsive disorder and things like that, and I really suffered from that. When in fact I started to realize during my awakening in the last 5 years or so, um, that was just simply a mechanism for me to keep my mind pure and my thoughts and vibration pure as well. So there's just so much impurity that we are born into, in the world and in the matrix and such, that I had to go through my own journey to figure out how to not suffer because I was suffering so greatly. So I kind of was born into like health and wellness in some ways. My dad was the president of Wild Lifestyle, so it was Dr. Andrew Weil. My dad was the president and CEO for like 12 years, and so I kind of like had some knowledge of homeopathy and alternative medicine and things like that. And then I kind of went on my own journey when I went to Dartmouth College, graduated as early as possible. I wanted to come back to the West Coast, and delved into a lot of the different plants and ceremonies and things like that, and really expanded my consciousness to the nth degree. And finally, now I'm 29. I feel like I've really have been able to ground it in and embody this energy. And every day's, a way to uh, figure that out. Like it's always like a new lesson. So, but pretty much I focused on my soul wanted me to open up my inner eye and my ajna, the portal of light, like Paramhansa Yogananda talks about. So um, now I feel like I don't really suffer as much besides, the day-to-day things, and pretty aware of what is my energy and what's not. So it's been a pretty awesome experience.
Right on, right
Yeah.
on. And you talk about in part of your bio, you talk about, and you just kind of touched on it. I want to go back to it. You said that which supplements and ancient herbs will ground and elevate consciousness at the same time. So So you're saying that these supplements and ancient herbs actually can have an energetic effect on us, a transformational effect on us,
Yeah,
by helping us ground and to elevate our consciousness.
definitely. Well, over the past, like pretty much like the past 5 years, I really delved into most of the different plant medicines, like the ceremonial plant medicines, and now I just focus on Ayurvedic plants and such like and things like that. So when I get up in the morning, I have a drink mixture of spirulina, rhodiola, Panax ginseng, Siberian ginseng, which is eleuthero, um, yerba mate powdered, guarana powdered, and cordyceps are really powerful as well. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
been pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I always wondered about this because a lot of different people come on here with a lot of different types of processes and modalities and lifestyle choices and such. And I always wonder, especially as time's gone on, not to take anything away from anyone because you're talking to somebody who alchemized McDonald's 5 days a week the first 2 years of my wake up experience because I didn't have a choice, And so energy is energy. And with that in mind, the energy and awareness is expanded for all of us, consciousness, skills, abilities, capabilities, that type of things. How much, how are we moving toward a reality where everything will be engaged and instituted and initiated uh, from an energetic standpoint, from thoughts. And what I'm getting at is kind of like the cosmic placebo effect. I
Oh,
mean,
totally.
these things I know help us. There's many people around the world that have different practices. One person may try something and it doesn't work to the degree it does with another person. How much of that faith or belief in what we're doing is affecting us versus the actual physical action of doing something. You know what I mean? I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think our thoughts are becoming more and more powerful and we're able to move energy and transform things by the origin of our thoughts? Are we having more and more success with that? Do you think that's something that will open up for us?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, every moment is an actual like quantum field experience for me. Like, I can feel when I'm closing my eyes. So when I close my eyes, I see the inner portal of light, and then like much like what Paramhansa Yogananda talks about. And then if I'm meditating or if I'm closing my eyes in a space where there are other people, I can actually feel them looking at me, or I can actually in some ways see the energetic thought that they have when they project an energy towards me, and it actually sometimes hurts my physical body, my etheric body. So um pretty much thoughts literally are things now. There really is no, especially in Sedona, the veil is really thin. And when you're in a city, the thoughts are so there's so many thoughts and so many frequencies that are so discombobulated and disorganized that it's hard. Sometimes it just, you can't tell where the thoughts are coming from, so it actually just represses the energy field. So I believe that it's always been that way. It's just that our consciousness is now coming into that awakening in like in an embodied form.
That's a really
So
good description. I love that. Let me ask you this. I love the way you explain that. So and you're right, it has always been like this. You're describing basically the experience of an empath. You know what I mean? But I think what's happened is, because I remember 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago in these circles, there was a lot of empath groups. There was a lot of support for that, and it seems like the empath consciousness has grown, and they've learned to utilize or transform that energy, certainly to contend with it in a way with more ease and grace than before. So my question is like, so when you're in a space like that, and you feel eyes closed or not, and you're in a city or whatever, and you feel that energy of other people, how do you approach that? How do you stay balanced and or expand that point, as opposed to the way the empath life used to be, where we just got hammered and wanted to go home and close the door.
Pretty much it, like my soul signature is very like I have a very feminine astrology, and also like it's kind of like I'm a high priestess in a male body in some ways, and I feel like I had to absorb, and I guess in my human design as well, I've had to absorb like almost everything in the world, and that has occurred pretty much that occurred in my 20s, like about 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and that was a really tough time during my awakening, and I really suffered a lot, actually, greatly from I call it teleempathy, telepathy, basically. So telepathy and empathy mixed. And now I
telepathy and empathy mixed.
Telepathy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
I
because
like
it all happens at the same time. So so there are different vibrational frequencies and energies, and I've discerned it in a way that something that isn't mine. And so oftentimes when people are moving through space and time, they might attempt to throw a cord, or they might attempt to, if you're driving in traffic and they flip you off or something, then you just have to work with your higher power. So your higher power is already within yourself. So for me, I focus on my higher power, and I pray with the sacred holy name of the Holy Hashem, which is the 72 names of Creator all in one. And that's my ancient lineage as well. So it's the sacred name of Yod-He, Vav-He. And so I focus on praying with that Most High name, and also the holy angels. And then I request that my guardian angels remove and release all lower energies from my field now. So I get into the commander mode when there's energy that happens like that. When in fact before, I was becoming a victim to it because I didn't know where it was coming from. But being sober and clear-minded, like as a yogi, I focus on like Kriya Yoga, and by doing that, then the inner eye has really helped me to move through any and all confusion, actually. So if there's distortion in the field, all I have to do is just close my eyes and just move in through it into the eye, through the Om. And I really, my higher power is Christed consciousness. So I work with Yeshua, and I work with, the ancient Himalayan ancestry, and many times the ancient Egyptian ancestry as well. So it's kind of a whole aspect to it. It's kind of it's different every moment, and oftentimes I actually sing light language and speak light language as well. And
we'll have to revisit that in a second, if you don't mind.
I have my guitar with me too.
We can put some. Oh, right. Hey, dude, this is how we do it on this show. You must have known that at a higher level. I want to go back to something you said that was important. Oh, yeah, just to kind of restate it. And the reason I asked you is because one of the values of these conversations for myself and other people is that, sometimes you might go through something 2 years before, and I go through it now, but in your story, how you went through it, which you explained so well, I might be able to gain something from it, and but like I like what you said too, because whether you're walking into a room or a restaurant or whatever that situation is where you feel those other energetic eyes on you, you're basically going to your go-to. You're aligning with the highest aspect of the universe as you can conceive it, or yourself, or however you want to put it. But you're and that's a simple way, and I like that, to actually ground. People talk about grounding, and I've asked at least 20 times on the show, what do you mean by grounding? And I guess it is different for everyone, but that's a pretty quick little quick little good discipline to have, or a good way to think about it is, what is the highest that I know, understanding, or whatever you want to call it, of the universal, of myself, and that type of thing. Yeah.
Well, I feel that.
So I like that. Go ahead.
Well, I feel that a way of grounding, a lot of people focus on grounding. I mean, I ground into the earth, but for me, I think it's grounding in the crown chakra as well, with the Most High. So moving in through the inner eye, some people identify their visions as like, it could be a fourth dimensional astral field. It could be something that is a demi being. It's not like something that is the infinite creator of the universe with our own personal soul signature. So some people might be identifying in their astral visions or in their meditations with something that is actually not their personal soul signature. So I
Yeah.
focus on getting people into their higher power soul signature within themselves, because that's what has worked for me, and it's different for every person as well. So what were you
Yeah.
about to say?
And let me ask you this. No, oh no. I'm with you on that. You actually kind of went where I was going to go with it. Uh, Now you're in Sedona. Uh, you've been awake for quite some time. And so, what's that like living there day to day? What are the one or two most profound experiences or weirdest experiences or whatever you want to call it in Sedona, where I know personally there is, a lot of ancient energies there I've been exposed to, galactic, indigenous and other universal and other planetary, all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. Have you had anything happen there that's really caught your eye, that's really made an impression on you, or that was profound in the experience?
Pretty much. I really love to keep it simple. There are a lot of tourists that come through Sedona, so I can't get too. I mean, I've been focusing on allowing my crown to be in the skies and my feet to be in the earth. And so when the experiences happen, then they happen because my sacral chakra guides me to experience them. So, for example, you know, well, the first of all, the most profound thing that happened in Sedona was when 2 years ago I was like, I would really love a girlfriend, and then I met Giselle, and then she and I have been together for like 2 years. So, um, which has been a beautiful experience. That's been the most that has probably been the most profound experience for me in Sedona, is experiencing true love. So, and I think that I've had experiences where I can go outside and um, I look at the sky, and there's certain parts of the sky like the Pleiades or Orion, and before when I look, a shooting star happens right after I look. So uh, that shows me that the crown is actually associated um, with the heavenly stars. So I was able to know when the shooting star would happen. Another experience was um, we um, I was guided to look outside, and there are these lights that sometimes show up in the sky or on the very tip of a mountain, like at 2 in the morning, and they start shining, which is a powerful thing too. So the star family is definitely here, and I found that when we are when we see the star family as a part of us, literally they are a part of us. Then um, and it's very discreet as well, specifically only so we can see it, or the people who are meant to see it can see it. So that's been a profound experience as well. So pretty much star family as well, and
Yeah, that makes
it's associated with the earth and how grounded we are in the roots of the plants and the earth too. So
so it's all related. But yeah, that makes total sense too, because I've heard more than one person tell me they were standing right next to somebody else, and they were basically communicating telepathically with the starship or a star or whatever. They saw certain things that the person next to him didn't, and I've heard it the other way around too.
yeah,
Yeah, so there is definitely some type of connection between where we're at in terms of alignment with anything and everything around us, no doubt. Have you have you had well, we got two subjects to go back to now: light language and a relationship in the 5D plus environment. So you've been in a relationship for 2 years with Giselle. You guys,
yeah,
if you haven't seen we've had two shows with Giselle. You can search for those, and they'll be on YouTube. One of them's already on YouTube, but that's Giselle Coy. Now, how's that been? How's that dance between the masculine and the feminine in the physicality? Because I know we're made up of both. How's that dance been for 2 years? Because you said right up to that point, it sounds like you had gone through all that stuff that you described earlier that wasn't all that easy and graceful. So what's that
Yeah.
been like uh, since you met her? How's that affected your transition? What's that dance been like?
Well, it's pretty much the powerful feminine aspect, grounding in uh, the masculine within myself, and now I'm in a process of expanding the masculine. So I've grounded in my groundedness, my masculine energy, and because I was just pretty much during my awakening, I was really experiencing my etherical, like feminine aspect of like going and kind of just experiencing energy really powerfully. And then so pretty much for me, that I guess the alchemy happened where it was a feminine experience, grounding in, coming through, and then aligning that the ever changing rhythm and flow with the masculine energy of how it can match into the world. And so I feel that that is what the 5D relationship guided me to experience. Was it would literally start to shift reality, actually. So we would sing light language, and it would change and shift, like physical reality. I basically healed everything in my life, including my relationship with my family. I healed everything, literally. Pretty much all my problems, like in many ways, from this beautiful relationship have like dissipated. Now it's time for me to now share. I guess it's the Saturn return for me to start sharing my energy. So a 5D relationship that is of the Most High is a beautiful gift from 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 Creator. So it's a really beautiful thing. I hope that explains it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on, man. Right on. Sounds like it certainly brought you more and more into balance, and uh, a lot of these relationships that have popped up over the last few years, and some have sustained, some have not. And there's nothing to compare about that. That's not a comparative statement, or one's better than the other. But a lot of them have been at times or in its totality kind of like fire. Like
Yeah.
because the connection is so powerful. Some relationships have been able to sustain the fire hits the fire kind of thing, or the high triggers hit the high triggers, or whatever you want to call it. uh, have you found that the relationship, in the evolution of the relationship and in the evolution of yourself, that you were able to see things or come to terms with things or become aware of things that you may not have been before, because you were having that mirror so close to you in your physical incarnation of your divine feminine?
Uh, of course. Yeah, and you mean the physical incarnation as in my partner, or within the feminine within myself?
Yeah, like with just well, I mean, yeah, where you're actually interacting with just cell, so you're in that physical reality that we're kind of evolving from, and of course, the energetic side of it is, the energetic side of it, which is within yourself, and even with her higher self, that type of thing. What I'm saying is did you find being in a relationship in these higher frequencies, or this higher dimensional frequency, did you find mirrors, or were things mirrored to you that you discovered about yourself because you were in a relationship with her?
Yeah, of course. I mean, pretty much everything, and that's why things were able to heal. Like I went through a whole process of facing the traumas that I experienced, with the reflection of her love, and her love holding space for me, and me holding space for her. I was able to really move through a lot of the traumatic experiences I had. With it was almost like a natural going back into the experience, bringing divine love into it, re-experiencing it, and then transmuting it into the Most High. So pretty much
Yeah.
the fire was able to transmute that through that alchemical process, with activation of DNA, and pretty much like the state, like almost like the grounding of the DNA, or like my DNA was so I got so activated so fast in many ways that it helped to almost ground the DNA within myself. and with her reflection as well. So, I mean, obviously triggers happen, and but I mean, love overcomes all, and it's all about just unconditional love. So I've really been learning that as well.
Wow. There's not a lot of men out there that are doing light language, at least that are sharing it openly.
Yeah.
Of course, there is, you know, three out of four of the people in these circles are feminine, females.
Mm-hmm.
So that accounts for some of it, but you don't see a lot of them. When did you start doing light language? How did that happen? And you know, tell us a little bit about that journey and what the light language has done for you, means for you, that type of thing.
Pretty much like it pretty much means that, like, for right now, like if something gets brought up, it's like a ceremonial opening and closing, or ceremonial clearing of energy. It's like a ceremonial um, way of living. So pretty much every moment is a sacred moment for me, because it has to be that way. Um, because I guess it's in my human design. It's purity is how I feel in tune to the Most High, and like that's kind of what I utilize in my sessions with people as well. And I'm going to be doing light language ceremonies at the Creative Life Center with sound bowls, and it's almost a mixture of all the different plant medicines with my that have activated the DNA within me, and then my near death experience as well, from you know, so pretty much like adrenaline and trauma can activate the genes. So and you know, and then you have to go through the healing process, which I'm grateful to have gone through, and then now it's just a practical tool for me, light language.
So does it come in like now? Does it just come in at times and you just got to do it, or can you call on it, or both, or how does that work?
It's definitely a situational thing. Like, if there's receptivity, there has to be receptivity. Like, I think that's how the Most High works too. Like, there has to be consent in any way, and I think that consent is an important thing. And it's up to the person to know what they are consenting to and what they're discerning through their own personal discernment. So that's why, you know, uh, uh, I mean, a lot of the problems in the world are due to a lack of proper consent, I feel. So people are consenting to things that they don't even know that they're consenting to, but that's another subject. So anyways, if the person wants to receive, the light language, then yeah, I will share the light language with them. So
let's see. Let's see what the our brothers and sisters say. Do you guys want to receive some light language? And while you're putting your comments up there, because there's a lag, my next question is: do you do light language with the guitar?
yeah, I
Or
do.
just,
It's actually a pretty cool experience. Kind of like
yeah,
it's like, huh? What was
no, I was going to say I've heard a couple of people do songs in part while they played the guitar. Some of it was the human English language, and then some was they threw in light language in the middle. So yeah, I've heard it a couple times and it sounded really good. So I think everybody here would like to hear it. I see a yes please and a yes and a yes. So if you're open to it, we're receptive. We're receptive
Aloha.
to the guitar with the light.
Luckily, I have an iPad.
There you go.
So here we are. Hey, that's probably a better view. I don't know why I didn't do that the whole time.
It's perfect.
Oh, thank you, Holy Most High. Can you hear that all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, Maria Sebo no del Barrero. Provedo sarte monedo se lo vedo con y drevo me da drevo devo ser meno ne monene Medo será de e non hanno se non devo vedere me daré usted me daré o creo vedo menos me de lo Indra cerca beso, la beso, le boom. Movevum gelum, mozelum, bondrebum, drum. Yeser, amor, le borrebum, de Venus. Vivo de madre se That's a deepest of the summer piano grandes. Bello, madre. Se le bajo a llevo.
Man,
thank you.
that was awesome, bro. That was for those of you just joined us. That was light language with the guitar. I'd like to. That was nice. Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. I'd like to take a
Hi.
take a good audio of that and put it to some video. That's cool. And put it into the channel lineup. That's a nice. That's nice, man. I like that a lot. That was very
Feels
cool.
great. Thank you.
Now, was that? Is there like a message in or any type of you know, I don't know, anything that message that comes with it, activation, or is it a story? I mean, is there anything that you can explain to us about what you just did?
Well, what did you feel from that experience?
Well,
Like,
somebody put that it sounds like Zorro, and that was a compliment. The first thing I got out of it, I'm from South Texas, so there was a lot of Spanish influence. It has that. If you ever listen to like Spanish music, the Spanish guitar, and Spanish vocalists, even if you don't know the language, there's something about the in the resonance of the song and the sound and that style that's like totally the heart. Like it's just
mm-hmm.
like this place, almost like a void. But anyway, that's the first thing that came in. It was like the same type of frequency. It was like straight to the core of the heart and inviting, to me, like inviting the highest of highs from the human standpoint and the lowest of lows, meaning inviting everything in and not being afraid of
Yeah,
anything, pure love. Yeah, it was like a
pretty
pure
much.
frequency. So very cool. Yeah.
I
And
guess
they're
that's the
saying the same thing, like flamingo. Huh?
that's like the light language of pure love. Then
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I
yeah.
believe me, I've known Spanish ladies that, once a week sit around and listen to this style of music and drink a six pack. They just like, it's like, it's like a church, I mean, it's like this, I don't know. It's incredible.
Well,
Yeah. Very cool. I like that
yeah.
a
I
lot.
mean,
If I'd have known
uh,
that, I would have gotten you up on stage at the Soulogy Soul Gathering in Sedona. I would have got you up there. Had I known
oh,
you
I
were,
mean,
you were
yeah. It's thank you. Yeah. I also do it with sound bowls as well, which is a different experience. Like when people sometimes it kind of has to do with the instrument I utilize. So the guitar is literally like, I believe it's actually a Spanish guitar. That's like the nature of the guitar. So
yeah,
so that nature comes through, and then it's different every time. So there's it's literally from my soul. It's just a soul
yeah.
signature song, and maybe a past life. I do drink a lot of yerba mate. I traveled throughout South America when I was a little kid. And we actually went to Antarctica too. So I grew up in the
You
Southwest.
went to Antarctica.
Yeah, when during the millennium actually.
What was
So,
what was what was that like? What was Antarctica like?
I wasn't able to sleep. I was
Oh,
9 years old, and there were kids from all over the world there. Um, the one thing is that I took the yellow fever vaccine for that, and it kind of like, I think that's why I wasn't able to sleep, or I have no idea. I'm not against vaccines. I don't want to. This is not about vaccines. I'm not for or against them. So, but uh, but yeah, it was a pretty activating experience. We went through Buenos Aires, through Argentina. We went through Ushuaia, I believe that's what it's called, to the tip of South America, and we went across the Drake Passage. And it was pretty much like, it was with this organization that I went with called Young Presidents Organization, and we went across the Drake Passage, and literally it was like, I guess it's like the roughest seas there are. So
that's
pretty
what I've heard.
fascinating.
I've heard. I knew someone that took took a lot of cruises, and when they went on the cruise, I think they called it the Horn of Africa.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, South America, the rock. There's something that's called down there, but when you pass through there, it's supposed to be really, really, like everyone's got to buckle down and can't walk around and all that
And
stuff. So if that
I think,
happens on a big cruise ship, imagine.
yeah, and I feel that uh, going back to the light language, I feel like it's inspired by a lot of the energy of the cactus. So, like there's the sacred San Pedro and peyote and other forms. It's very masculine, so it's like a very sweet masculine energy that I feel like
Yeah,
um, that that got activated. I didn't really start doing that until recently. That type of song. So yeah. But anyways, back to Antarctica. Um, yeah, it was fast. There were like celebrities there on the cruise, and it was a kind of a weird experience. I mean, it's like a portal down there. So I was just 9 years old. So yeah.
you were just 9 years old, but you can still go back to that. Obviously, you can visit that frequency. You're picking up on the energy of it. I'm just curious. I want to get off on a sidebar issue, but we don't talk about it much. But and I know that the movie that's playing before our eyes isn't really the reality, but it's interesting. It's intriguing. This whole thing with Antarctica. What's there? Do you feel like, in retrospect, do you feel like something's different there in a big way than maybe the rest of the places you've been in the world?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, it's under ice. It's been under ice for quite some time. So there's definitely ancient civilizations that are there. I mean, how could there not be pyramids there? And um, you know, there will probably be discoveries that will come out from ancient Antarctica that it goes beyond the 19th century and such. So, um, probably ancient civilizations that existed before even the pyramids that are in the Mayans, and there's a similarity between the Mayan pyramids and the ancient Egyptian pyramids and things like that. There's probably things that are there that are totally different that we've never seen before. So
Right on. Yeah. So what do you think 2020 is going to be like? How does that feel? How does the energy of 2020 or the potential of it, or however you want to put it, how does that feel?
Well, I feel that 2020 is going to be a experience of, well, I'm along with Savan Bomar. He does a lot of different podcasts and shows. He's pretty awesome. His whole thing is sovereignty 2020, and I think that it's all about sovereignty, and that's definitely a necessary experience. So we have to become sovereign in all ways. Like if our chakra systems are sovereign, then that means our realities are sovereign as well. So
that was my next question. How do you practice, or how do you approach and or practice and claim, declare, whatever, your sovereignty? How do you do it on a personal level, and how do you incorporate it, if you do, into your practice, your energy practitioner practice?
Well, I do my supplements in the morning when I wake up, and my inner eye appears, and I gaze into it, and then I activate all my chakra systems and allow the supplements and the nutrients in the supplements to awaken my body. And I go like this, like I'm like, my whole light body wakes up. And I think some people, they just start their day without allowing their light body to wake up. So that when their light body wakes up, that means your chakra systems are open and you're ready for the day. And oftentimes for me, I'm very crown based and throat chakra based. So it's important for me to focus on my heart and my sacral and the lower chakras. So, and it's important to keep my energy and my lower chakras clear, especially my sacral chakra for manifestation, because this is the whole point where the right next step always presents itself from the divine architect. So for me, I'm not really sure what to do from my mind. It's hard for me to tell what to do next if I think about it. But if I just follow my instinct like an animal, like a primal being, then that's the whole point of I feel like what the masculine's going through is activating the sacral masculine. So activating the sacral chakra, and then your instinct will show you the right next step, because so many masculines, so many men and such are not in tune with their primal instinct. And I think that's pretty much the only way that I can create. And that was challenging for me, going to like an Ivy League school, and everything is all like mental there. And my ancestry is just entrepreneurial endeavors. So like my dad and grandpa and everything. So pretty much I think that's the only way that I've found that I can create, like, the inspiration to do the music. It comes from the crown chakra with that connection, and then the sacral, so the instinct.
Very cool.
Well,
cool. Yeah, they're definitely. Yeah, I can relate to the creativity or the expressions, or I don't know what you want to call it, but it's definitely, for me, I feel the same way. It's like, it's at least a part of it is rooted in that sacred, in the sacral, that sacred sexual vibration. And obviously I mean, from a higher awareness, not from some type of 3D sexual type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like tantra with life, like but it's not sexual. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Well, sorry, man. More. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries.
I know it's gonna be that hot.
Are you eating a jalapeno?
Very good. Morgan just made something that was stove hot.
Wow.
She had me try it. It was very good. So, tell us a little bit about where, before we head out, where where people can find you. If you got anything coming up that you want to talk about, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you might want to put out there, so you can expand awareness of.
Yeah, if I'd love to help people find their higher power signature within themselves, so that they can feel connected with the Most High within themselves, and also so they can feel connected with their primal instincts. And I'd love to assist with clearing out the chakra systems. I'm able to do that remotely, and able to. I work with a sacred furba, which is an ancient Himalayan form of it's kind of like a Himalayan dagger in some ways, but it's for divine wrath to clear out lower energies, which oftentimes block people's energy, and that's been a really helpful thing as well. Where there's so much distortion in the world and on the planet that I'd love to. I found that what has helped me is because I absorbed so much of I guess negativity during my awakening, that I got myself out of that by working with the Most High and clearing my chakra systems and cutting the cords. So if people want like a remote shamanic session, or if they want intuitive guidance on their awakening journey, you can find me at Michael Tree on Instagram, MIKALTREE. So, and on Facebook as well. So, and I'd love to help other men to find their instinctive, their intuitive instinct, their primal instincts, and so to help. It's just fun to relate to people who are awake. So, yeah. Thank you.
Right on. Right
Yeah.
on. Yeah. Thank you, man. And you're going to be doing some of your light language with the sound bowls, the singing bowls in Sedona. Where's that going to be at?
Well, at the Creative Life Center. I'm going to be doing sessions there, and then just in general, I can do that one-on-one with people as well, with the guitar and the sound bowl, and just intuitive readings. Pretty much, I also work with sacred Hermetic cards, tarot cards that have ancient Hebrew on them. So those are pretty accurate as well. So if people want intuitive reading, and pretty much I work with Yeshua Emmanuel. I love to work with the Christ of consciousness. I work with Paramahansa Yogananda, that lineage of Babaji. And Lahiri Mahashaya. So thank you. Yeah. And thank you, Todd, for hosting this podcast.
You cut out quite a bit, but I heard most of it.
Oh,
I couldn't tell.
Did anybody
Can
get
you hear
that?
me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
No, I think everybody else did. My stream went down. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, cool.
Well, hope I get to see you again fairly soon.
Yeah.
I would imagine we'll be making the rounds to Sedona before too long.
Yeah, I
in a
might be
couple
traveling
months or
too.
something.
Who knows what instincts and primal instincts the Most High will guide me to go to. So, but I love being here in Sedona. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool place, no doubt. No doubt.
Thank you to Todd and Morgan.
Yeah. Thank you, man. And give my best to Giselle, and until the next time. All right.
All right. Sounds good. Namaste.
Keep doing that. All right. Peace out.
Thank you.
Brother.
Yeah.
All right, man. Take care.
You too.